Hello there everyone, Zion Mark III and welcome back to my little From the Depths campaign in the Ashes of the Empire. Slowly drifting up into view here is of course the UAV which I built in the previous video, which is now officially been called the Phantom Crane. I must admit there were a bunch of other quite nice ideas actually, but sadly with the whole insect theme going on and all that kind of thing, I couldn't use them. I couldn't use the Beholder. I couldn't use the Orb of Annihilation and stuff like that. So yeah, Phantom Crane it is. You were right, General Hayes. That is actually a good one. Though I'd never heard of it until you mentioned it. So thanks for that. Let's pull this back out of play and get back on the ground. Now, there was actually a concern that I want to quickly address, and that is... Am I back down here? Yes, I am back down here. Sure. Let's actually spawn in that Scarab as well while I'm at it. Play this force, and turn the AI off. Yeah, you just sit there. There was the suggestion that I've not been attacked just yet because my settings have not been changed. Sorry, my settings are not the same as they were before. But I can prove that to you right here. As you can see, difficulty modifier 1, growth factor doubled, resource gain 2% for what I kill. So yeah, that's exactly what it was. But I've still not been attacked just yet. I think it's because they are aware of how strong things in a location might be, so I might have scared them off a little bit with having some tanks down there. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Well, can't say that that's a good thing or not either way. Anyway, something else to quickly address is the missile turrets that I put onto the top of my little base over here. You guys were giving me some concerns about the missiles, and am I in the other build mode? Yes, I am. There. I find the other build mode a bit irritating. I prefer the original one, which is this one. It's a bit slower, but it gives precise control, so that's the thing. Anyway, the missiles. What I was told was fins, then thruster, then everything else. And that is actually something I was trying to do. It's a switch that's slowly coming along, so I am going to very quickly actually do that. So 1, 2, 3 there, put the one turn in there. Put in the variable thruster here, which is going to be set to a full ramp time and 1200 just like before. And then I'm going to put 3 fins behind it, so that will reduce the drag and make the thing a little bit more responsive. But I'm not going to go with the other concern you guys mentioned, which is this one turn, that I could take it out and use it for something else. Unfortunately that is there for a reason. And that is the fact that this turret won't always be pointing the right way to engage something that's coming at it. And if an enemy flyer gets up overhead, then it'll need the one turn anyway to turn the missiles in the right direction to try and counter that as well. Seeing as it's just a basic infrared seeker, it's a 30-degree cone on that, I believe. Let's have a quick look. Nope, didn't want them to replace that. Darn it, here we go. Right. 120-degree cone. Why was I thinking it was a 30-degree cone then? 120 is much better. But still, it's not perfect, so I'm going to err on the side of caution. I'm going to leave in that one turn. So there we go, that's the missiles in that particular tower. Now, what am I going to do while I am waiting for... Oh, there is one other thing. One other thing. Thank you for... Well, wait, who was it? Yeah, here we go. Thank you, Tellurium, for mentioning about the shift to control where you want to go height-wise when you're telling a vehicle to move. That seems to have roughly fixed it. The Phantom Crane UAV is just sitting there now and not doing a lot. So, yeah, if it stays up there, then I will call that fixed. If not, I'll go with the heli conversion I was considering at the end of the previous video. Now, my plan for this video is I want to actually get war started this time around, which means I'm going to want to fight. I'm going to want to actually be ready to fight. I am ready to fight more or less because I've got extra stuff. Let's get over here, yeah. I am ready to fight more or less down here because I've got my 2 prototype tanks on sentry mode. But I'm just going to load in an additional Phantom Crane down here because I need view. So you're spawned. Yep. And you are to start repairing immediately. So there we go. Why are you not repairing? Oh, because you're in play. And yep, okay, everything is fixing. And I want you to go... I want you to... okay. For some reason it wouldn't let me do that, but yeah. I'm going to get 2 Phantom Cranes in place, one at each of my resource pockets, so that I can actually see around them better as well. Though I admit if the enemy actually sees... well, starts to attack the pockets, they'd better live up to the name and be phantoms, because if an enemy so much as sneezes in their general direction, they are going to die. Even worse than the resource carrier or the scuttlebug resource collectors, because at least they have armor and guns and mobility. The Phantom Cranes don't. They have nothing. Absolutely nothing. Loading in another Phantom Crane here. Yep, there we go. Okay. So that's that. I'll get those in the air. And my next particular plan is I'm going to build a variant of the Scarab, which is going to be the production variant. Like, it's going to actually have a more reasonable turret, which is hopefully going to be more effective and cheaper. Though I'm very happy with the hull, so I'm going to leave that alone. Wait, there's that. I want you to be over here. I'll pull you out, repair.
Moving out.
Over there. Okay. So yeah,
Those
cranes will get built. That's good.
Yes.
So once I've got that, then I'm going to skip forward in time, gather some more resources, maybe build some more tanks off camera, though they will just be the existing Scarab type designs, and wait for a war deck, because I want to get my first round of combat in this run into this particular episode. And I've already spent the best part of 10 minutes babbling, so I'm off to a great start. I'll see you in a few moments once I've got these survey drones in the air. There we go. All cranes are now airborne and in the correct positions. That problem now seems to be officially fixed. So again, thank you for that. Though this means I can also see a rather nice 100 strength position here owned by the Lightning Hoods. So that'll be fun to deal with at some point, won't it? Also interesting, there's strength 0 up here, owned by the Steel Empire. And down here there is, of course, a strength 30 owned by the White Flayers. Those cheeky, suicidal maniacs. Anyway, let's get on with this, shall we? Now, let's go down here. Let's get to my parked Scarab MBT, which I'm going to play and teleport to. Thank you. Actually, no, I'm going to teleport to the land rig. There we go. Because this is time to start building the actual better turret on this thing. Though, of course, to actually do that, I need to tear off the first turret. Because my problem with this turret is it's a prototype turret. That's why I dubbed the entire thing a prototype. But it's really big and bulky, and it's got so many barrels on it. And the main body of the tank can't sustain the rate of fire this turret is capable of. So, yeah, that's why it's in need of an upgrade and a more refined version. So, let's get started by cutting it off. Splat. I'm sorry, Mr. Scarab. I just tore your head off. Oh well. But that turret alone was worth the best part of 2,000 resources or so. Admittedly, that's only like a fifth of the tank's value, but it was still really big and bulky compared to the rest of the design, and that's about the only thing I didn't really like about it, to be honest. Yeah, well. I'll get back to you as soon as I've got a core system laid out for a new, slightly more refined turret. Well, here we go. One slightly upgraded slash downgraded slash abomination of a turret. This is a more compact, definitely. It's got much, much less barrels. It can't fire anything like as fast as the prototype's turret can, but it can still maintain a pretty decent rate of fire. Here, let me show you. Just spin it around and... Yeah, so it releases 2 shells every couple of seconds. That's fair, and more importantly, the actual ammo supply of the tank itself can keep up with this thing better. Each of these is fitted with some recoil compensation, 100mm just like before, and a single autoloader fitted to 4 belts, sorry, fitted to 4 ammo clips, which gets the reload time down. So as the ammunition runs out, it'll slowly lose its rate of fire, but it'll still keep a pretty decent pace overall. On the plus side, it's got 81 shells in reserve for each cannon, so, you know, it'll take a while to chew through that. This thing can keep firing a lot better than the prototype can. Now, the third gun mounted on top of the prototype's turret, that was purely to try and help fend off AA attacks. Fend off AA attacks? Fend off air attacks. It's an AA cannon mount. This time, to go with a sleeker, lower turret, I've instead fitted two smaller cannons to the back of this thing, rather than one extra turret with an AA mantle. These cannons I've dropped the actual shell size on them down to 70mm rather than 100, because I checked the actual shell configuration, and 70mm has half the blast damage exactly of the 100mm ones. So hey, I've cut them in half, makes them faster firing, makes them recoil less, and makes them, you know, cheaper to keep firing as well. But more importantly, this thing can attack aircraft that are directly above this tank. So in some ways, it is a more effective form of anti-aircraft. When these forward-facing guns can no longer track it, it won't be long until these vertical-facing cannons can. But let's go ahead and get this thing up. Now, if I angle up to here, angling up, yep, angle up. There we go, I've just lost the forward guns, but if I keep angling up, and there's the vertical guns. Ready to try and fire on any kind of air target that gets above it. So, hooray. Now, why are they firing out of sync? That's strange. I must have messed up the configuration somewhere. But anyway, apart from detector systems, this is the internal configuration of the new turret. So I'll get back to sculpting and get the exterior of it sorted out and ready to go. And make it so I can actually tell where the opponent is, which is always helpful. But as soon as I finish this, I have enough resources to build 1, maybe 2 more of these tanks immediately. So, hey, more defenders. Let's go for it. And there we have it. One smaller, more streamlined turret fitted to the Scarab MBT. It's still got its decent rate of fire. I've given it the same tracking systems as the previous turret had, with 2 additions. One is this vertical mounted 90-degree camera, so it can actually accurately pick up, oh, there's something above me, I better fire the anti-aircraft guns, which might be important sometime. And at the back there is a 360-degree camera to help it spot things behind it, considering the barrels of the anti-aircraft guns block the 360-degree IR camera, which is mounted on the front. All in all, though, I think this is a much sleeker, much more appropriate looking design compared to the rest of the vehicle. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. The only thing left to do with this thing, though, is to act on another comment, which was, I must let out my inner Picasso. I must paint this thing. Truthfully, I was planning to leave the Scarab blank until I realised, oh, it's a prototype. It shouldn't be painted. It should be left blank because, you know, it's the test vehicle. It's the proving grounds, the maybe, the thing that might become. But this is intended to be a sort of production version, so this one should have a colour scheme of some sort. Though I must admit, the first thing I thought when I saw the comment was, okay, let's go and paint this thing neon pink. I'm not going to do that, but just letting you know that is what I was considering. So, yeah. Let's get this thing painted up. It's been a while since I've done some proper art. My graphics tablet's getting dusty. Not that I need it, but yeah, it's a little bit dusty, that. It's about time I used it again, I think. Also, I'll be able to afford 2 of this vehicle, because right now, 9,800, so it's a little bit cheaper, about 500 or so. And, yeah, any savings is a good one. Now let's splash some paint on this thing. Yeah, I think that'll do it. It's something. I was trying to go for a kind of a jungle-y themed kind of thing with it, but I prefer solid colours more than like a camo pattern, so there you go. It's kind of like an olive green overall base coat with deeper green for the legs and the highlights. There's some black for accents around the treads themselves, just like that, so you know, it's got that. It's a very straight colour scheme more than anything else. I must admit that, though I deliberately left the exposed mechanical and turret elements in their original gunmetal grey, just so that they stood out a little bit like that. And of course, red, war paint. It's a tank, it deserves a little bit of war paint on it, though maybe I went a bit too far. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. Maybe that's a good colour scheme, maybe it's not. But I'm going to call that tank complete, so I'm actually going to save it now as the flat-out Scarab MBT, so it doesn't really need to be named, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Save the Scarab, yep. And then I better grab an intel shot of it. There we go. Has that done it? Yeah, there we go. Scarab complete. Now, it's time to fast forward and see if I can get a war in the next few minutes. Because I want to try and do that. Also, I've got 27,000, so I can build practically 3 more of these things to build my own little tank battalion. If a war doesn't come very soon, because I'm running short on recording time, I'm going to actually attack the White Flayers, tit for tat. And we'll see how well this thing does. It seems I told a little lie. My Scarab MBT design, MTTT, main tanker tank? I don't know. My MBTs are actually 100 resources roughly more expensive than the prototype. And that, I think, is entirely because of the additional cannon system installed. And the fact that the cannons are more extensive, while the prototype ones are built for maximum rate of fire out of a compact, like the smallest possible cannon. That's why they have so many barrels. The MBT's ones have few barrels, but they have cooling and they have the extra anti-aircraft gun on top of that. So overall, more expensive tank, though only just. There's only 9 meters cubed volume difference, though. And the MBT is slightly faster. So there is that going for it as well. Anyway, I've been waiting around a little while. I've built up enough resources to practically build an additional tank, so I'm almost ready to build MBT number 5. And there's been no sign of aggression on behalf of the White Flayers, so I am thinking maybe it's time to prod the bear a little bit. Let's send out my prototypes, because they do need to be tested. So they are a friendly area. Declare war first using UI. Okay. First of all, let's get those out there. And let's get the MBTs out there as well. Though they'll just be nearby. The first engagement is... Why the heck are the prototypes going around at 14 while... yeah, I don't know. Oh, I forgot to mention, the MBTs also have a slight upgrade in their processing capacity and self-repair abilities. In return for a little bit of their underside armor being lost, they needed the processing power for their actual turret upgrades, because they had more sensors than the basic chassis could handle. Yeah. Anyway, Flayers. Where's the diplomacy menu? Yeah, spawning stuff in would be a good idea. Diplomacy. White Flayers. I want to send you a rude message, if you please. Are you the white flares? Yes, you are. Right. White flares! You, sir, are fanatical cads! So, yes, we are at war. Oh, they want to reprisal already. Oh, insult, -10. I insult you, sir. -10. There we go. Fine. Okay, now then. Sleeping Bear, well and truly poked.
Yes?
MBT prototypes may proceed.
On my way.
I'm going to hold the MBTs themselves back. They can't really run too far away from yep, here comes the something. An air wing? Yes, I want to see that, thank you. So you've got a flyer and a wrecker, whatever that is. Well, I outclassed the flyer, the Stinger Mark III, quite a bit. The wrecker, though, 34,000 versus my tanks, which cost about 10,000 each. So I am outmassed by quite a considerable margin on this. Perhaps I should bring in the actual MBTs as well. Actually, let's cue the MBTs to join in as well, because that would probably be a good idea. They are close enough to get involved. Yep, you can join in. Okay. No, I want the prototypes to actually spawn first, if you please, so they can go up to the top. The prototypes are the ones that truly need a test. They can go first. They're much closer. But let's actually spawn them over here, and let's turn off resource mode as well, so I can't see that. And the MBTs will spawn on this flank over here once they are required. So they've got some distance, they can engage. I'm not sure what that wrecker is, but that seems to be a flyer of some kind as well. Okay. To war, my friends. To war. All landers spawned in, so okay, that is fine. To war. Oops, I spawned everything. Oh, that's the wrecker. It's that big wheelie gig thing. Oh, well, we're going to... Oh, it's already taking hits. Oh, dear. Yeah, I think I'm going to win this one with the addition. Though the wrecker... The prophecy of those AA cannons on the prototypes is coming to pass. They are firing really quickly, but they couldn't actually target the wrecker while it flew overhead. Well, the wrecker's already down, so yep. And it's lost its main ramming wheel as well, it looks like. And it's dead. Yep, it's dead. That just leaves this thing. Just firing missiles. My tanks don't really have a answer to that, but I've spawned in so much firepower, I should be able to do something about it at least. Assuming I can hit this thing with any of my shots, because that is the big issue right now. As soon as it stops flying around, I can do something about it. Tanks,
Yes?
I want you guys to get...
You have control.
get over there.
Yes?
Yeah.
You have control.
Get into range for your anti-aircraft
Yes?
guns to start
On my
doing
way.
something.
On my way.
Because the prototypes, they can't
way.
attack something that's just floating around above them like that. The MBTs, though, can. So, you know, that should actually do the job once they get into range. The MBTs, in the meantime, will
Yes?
pull back
On my way. On my way.
like that, so that it's pulling it towards the prototypes will pull it towards the MBTs. The closer it gets, the better the angles it can get, and now I'm just waiting for the shells to actually hit this thing. It stopped firing, so I think it's out of ammo. No, it's damaged. Yeah, it's actually damaged. Still, I think I brought too many cannons to that thing. I was worried about the big guy, and it turned out to be... It turned out to be the one that I actually beat at the start of my adventure run with a really basic cannon. So, yeah. Those guys are not actually very dangerous at all. Okay, some MBTs are getting into range. Come on, vertical cannons. Vertical cannons are now firing. Yep, there go the anti-aircraft guns. Perfect. Missile hit. Minor damage only. Nothing to worry about at all.
Yes. On my way, yes. On my way.
You can
Yes,
park
on my
there,
way,
you can
yes,
park
on my
there.
way, yes.
Just get into
On my
range,
way,
surround
yes.
it, and volley
On
it
my
down
way.
with cannons. That's the only reason it's still in the air, really, because I've not managed to hit it yet.
I need new orders.
Nope, I'm going to leave you there. You don't need new orders.
I need new orders. I need
Yeesh.
new orders.
I am struggling to hit this guy.
I need new orders.
Maybe I should put a missile, or build a missile variant of the Scarab. I was thinking of doing a missile turret variant, but I didn't have the time to do it. Come on, hit it. Hit it. You know you want to. Yeah, these guys don't know what they're doing at all. I'm sorry, this is a great battle. I can't hit it. Oh, never mind, I just hit it. Sure. I'm just trying to volley this thing down, really.
Yes. On my way.
Well, I finally hit it. It took a while. But the tanks finally hit it. And so that thing is actually getting torn to scrap now that it's been crippled. And there it goes. Finally. Wow. Obviously these things need a bit of work. Aggressive expansion, -5 points to relationship. Don't care. Haha. So that's my territory now, apparently. But, yeah. That went pretty well, I think. That said, there are some slight weaknesses and issues with the design,
On my way.
which I must address before I go on an offensive in the future, and that is the fact that...
On my way.
You know how I mentioned the Scarabs have a slight endurance problem in terms of their fuel consumption and capacity, as well as their ammo reserves? Their ammo was down, so they were all still firing just fine. But... Zero fuel. Zero fuel. In that short time, they expended their entire fuel reserves, powering their defensive shielding. And so they actually became immobile, and they were just sitting there taking pot shots at the flyer until they finally, by some sheer luck, hit it. So yeah, there are some things I need to do to upgrade these things. But that actually gives me a plan for the next video, which is I need to get a supply carrier along with these tanks into the fights, which will keep them supplied with fuel, and so keep them actually able to move, which would be beneficial, to say the least. Wow, the prototypes are going to take a while to get home, but all in all, a pretty successful supply... No, the supplies are absolutely awful. A pretty successful first engagement in this war. And I almost have enough resources to build a new tank, so I can spend that in the next video to build a resource carrier to actually keep these things functioning. And I have overshot my recording time fairly badly, so yeah, I was just waiting for that fight to finish, really. Oh yeah, last thing, I have been thinking to do this, but I forgot to mention it until now, and that is, the question is, do you guys want these designs actually made available to you on the workshop for you to download and mess around with by yourself? If you do, just let me know, and I'll make them all available to you. So yeah, just a little extra there. I don't mind sharing my designs, if there's any interest in them. And that's an if, a big if.
Yes.
Yeah. This has been Iron Mark III. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the show. I'll catch you some other time.